start recording. And I will broadcast live here as soon as I know. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday morning. We're happy to have everybody in attendance this morning as we welcome Eric Thompson from Sandler Training. Eric is going to talk to us about some leadership methods that we can use through this challenging time as we're facing this nationwide pandemic. So my name is Tanya Belter. I'm the VP of Member Services with the Fox Cities Chamber. As you know, this webinar is a part of our Stronger Together series, which was put together in an effort to support the community as we work through COVID-19. Today's session will be recorded, so you will receive a recorded version of that. It will also be available on our website should anybody want to go back and share this with people, maybe some colleagues after the fact that you feel might find it of benefit. And also Eric is willing and able to take any questions that you may have throughout the presentation. So if you do have questions, feel free to utilize either the Q&A or chat function, and we will go ahead and address those either as we work through the presentation or at the end, wherever seems to be most fitting. So with that being said, I will turn it over to Eric and we will get started. Good morning, Eric. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, everybody. We're glad you can make it for today's session. And thank Tanya for inviting us out to speak with everybody today. Today, as I was kind of putting this presentation together like I normally do, the topic we had came up with was 8 keys for leading during uncertain times. And as I was putting it together, it just kind of became bigger. So hopefully everybody gets a nugget or two as we get started, trying to figure out how we come out of this pandemic and everybody works together to be able to get back to a successful community. And, you know, as I was thinking about it, you know, we think about leadership and you know, it's easy to get spooked in times of uncertainty, especially with COVID, especially with how crazy different things happen. And I think not only these 8 principles can work during COVID, but I think it can work during any crisis, any floods or panic or climate crisis that happens or anything that happens out there. So think about some of these ideas and how you can implement them in your business at any time, realistically. You know, rapid change, realistically, it occurs all the time. And it seems lately, it just might be a little bit more rapid than what we're used to. And I think it's something that we have to plan for. And it's something that we have to continue planning for at greater and greater speeds. So as we dive in, we're going to focus a little bit on COVID, but I also think these principles and keys can ultimately be used during normal business as we continue to improve our businesses. Sandler Training, I'm Eric Thompson. Jim Cornelius, I believe, is on the line as well. We're from the Appleton Sandler Training office. And, you know, we at Sandler, we focus on leadership, management, sales training, consulting. We get into hiring a little bit for helping you come up with your hiring process. We don't do hiring. We've got a variety of strategic partnerships with a number of vendors out there, from Brovo to Zig, Ziglar to Crystal, ConnectWise. So we definitely isn't just Sandler, but it also comes back to other leaders in the industry that we have teamed up with to ultimately work with our clients and have success. Today, when we focus on our discussion, I need you to think about that self-awareness that sometimes we don't have time to think about. I think right now we need to really look at what we're doing, how we're operating. And today we'll hopefully help you to just self-discover a little bit what areas to look at. We'll give you a little bit of knowledge. We'll give you some ideas to maybe challenge some of your comfort zone ideas and continue to improve. And that'll lead us into you taking some action and working on the skill, as well as your drive into mastery. So today, I've got a couple of discussion questions on the lower, I believe it's either the lower part of your screen or the upper part of the screen. There's a little chat feature, chat button. Feel free to chat and participate in the discussion. Tanya asked us to go from 8 to 9 today, and I'll talk for probably 30, 40 minutes and answer questions either throughout if they come up, or I'll hold the questions till the end and we can address them then as well. So today, please, it's a discussion, not just me giving information. And I challenge you at the end to think about an action item or a takeaway, something that you'd be able to put into action and apply right away as we get started and trying to improve and you improving your business and your strategies. Today, 8 keys for uncertain times, and it really falls into 3 different areas that I want to focus on. Typically the plan. People have to do their plan and set some priorities, the vision. We also have to look at the team, who's on board with it, and how we're going to go about making and dealing with some of these changes. And I think right now, when we think about how we're dealing with this pandemic, as our world has really been turned upside down, so have our workforce. Now more than ever, our employees are looking for things that are familiar, that are reliable, they're consistent. And, if we think about leadership is supposed to provide that path, to provide that confidence that there's a way to look forward and that we can move the team together. Unfortunately, right now, the fact of the matter is that can't always happen, especially when leadership and organizations don't have the answers sometimes that people are seeking. It's as if we're operating in a fog. Quite frankly, today it was pretty foggy this morning. But if we're operating in fog, it's hard to determine what decisions we need to make. And as leaders, we typically make decisions based on the facts and the knowledge that we have. But if we're in the fog, we have to lead literally without some of those answers. And I think the good news is, there are universal needs that employees look towards their leader, especially in uncertain times. Gallup identified a number of traits, and there's 4 specific areas of trust, compassion, stability, and hope. Another quote that came to mind as I thought about those traits and think about Napoleon Hill, he had this great quote to think about adversity. And as our team members are looking for us to have some decisions, I think about this quote kind of brings into play things that we deal with if we are on a continual improvement plan. To run a business, to ride the waves of change, to ride market disruptions, growth opportunities. We think about this shifting and jarring and moving directions of a company. For going through a pandemic, we're also creating change as it happens because we don't know what the next turn is going to be. So every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But I think it's important as a leader, we have to acknowledge the impacts of these sudden changes. We have to be able to step back and think about what people are going through and how we then need to adjust to continue to improve. First key, I believe the first key is to self-examine. We really need to take a look in the mirror. Whether you're leading a team, leading a company, these traits and these ideas, doesn't matter if it's a company or a department. We have to think and look inside of us and figure out how are we viewing things. Is this a glass half full or a glass half empty type idea that we're considering? As I talk to business owners, and I work with clients, when we're leading through rapid change, a lot of business leaders share with me that they're falling into one of 3 camps now. One, they're in crisis mode. They're just kind of rallying the wagons, trying to stay afloat. They're really operating out of crisis and protection and survival mode. The other camp is they're looking at this as an opportunity to continue to improve an opportunity to change. Maybe not the same go-to-market currently, but how are they setting themselves up for success when we come out of this pandemic? So if we think about an opportunity mode, they're making small changes, looking internally, trying to understand who's willing and able to take us to that next level. And the third is we want to get to that opportunity area, but we're not quite sure how. Now, this has been a new mindset that's come up in the last couple of weeks. And, we have to be able to take a step back and figure out how it is that we can plan. We can take our teams to that level. I think another key is we really need to focus and manage our emotions, because our emotions ultimately cloud our judgment. We need to think about how it is that we're feeling. Maybe we're working from home. Maybe we're dealing with the emotions with employees and putting them on furlough. Maybe not getting the funding we are looking for. We have to manage our internal emotions and really try to make sure that doesn't cloud our judgment. Fear, doubt, worry, these rob us of energy and really rob us of the ability to clearly think. Be calm, be collected, don't panic. Please plan, but don't panic. That's a big challenge when we're in some of these times of crisis. How do you cope with stress? How do you cope with some of these emotions? You've got to take a look inward and figure out, when you think about your attitude, your mind, body, spirit, how is it that you can cope with this stress? Maybe it's as simple as going for a walk, listening to some music, spending some time with family. But we also have to consider how we are going to work on ourselves to get us through these times as well. Next, third, we've got to develop a plan. I think as is to be. It sounds so simple, but yet it's so hard. I think as we develop our plan to succeed, we need this plan to help our people through and come out of this change and this crisis. We have to be able to identify the starting point and the end point. Our business model is here today as is. How might it be as we come out of this pandemic? What customer needs are we going to need 60 days after we get back to normal? 90, 120, 6 months. What is that to-be model going to look like? And I know a lot of our businesses, they're going to adapt, they're going to change. And I think when we look at some blind spots of leadership, blind spot number 11, it's not sharing the vision with those who have to implement. So I want to make sure that we're not falling into that blind spot and make sure that we have some sort of a plan to get us to where we want to be. Now, I think when we think about a plan, many of you have heard of Simon Sinek, and I think this is a great video. YouTube it, start with why. I think this is a great starting point to understand your why, not only in business, but also on the personal side. I think we have to identify your vision, and it may be different now. If there's no vision, it leads to confusion. We have to understand your why and how it is that this is going to then interpret and help assist your plan moving forward. If you're still struggling to identify what some of your personal visions are, at Sandler, we've got a tool. Happy to share it with you. I'll give you my email address at the end. Who am I? It's one of our tools from our organizational excellence material. But it takes a look at and helps you to look inside of yourself and determine what it is that kind of makes you tick and helps you to clear your mind a little bit. It challenges you on how to consider how you see things and how others might see you. And I think this is some of those keys that go into us creating our own personal vision for ourselves and for our company. Next, I think we have to identify our goals. We have to take time to figure out what it is that's going to internally motivate us. We have to have our own goals, our own dreams, our own aspirations. If you think about maybe long-term, short-term goals, we have to have these to internally motivate us to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and be there for our team. These are important because these will really help ground you and know why that we're having to make some of these decisions and push forward in the direction that we want to be. As I think about understanding our goal, it's really critical to understand the end goal, understand those objectives before starting out. Where is the company today and where does it want to be? Where am I today and what goals am I trying to accomplish? If we don't have some goals, we can't develop that plan to get us there. We have to communicate some of those desired outcomes as we move forward down the path. I think another key is really to look inside. We have to look inside the company as we work on this new plan and identify what are some strengths and weaknesses. What weaknesses are likely to prevent our organization from getting down that path that we're shooting? Which opportunities offer the best opportunity to push forward if we follow them? Some of our services and offerings might need to adjust just a little to deal with the new normal coming out of this crisis and this pandemic. And even at Sandler, we've had to adjust our business model a little bit to deal and help people where they are. And I think that's what I'm talking about when I say as is to be. Where are our customers going to be? And how are we going to adapt our plan to get there? And then how are we going to measure our progress so we know when we need to make adjustments? So that plan, we've got to be able to plan. We've got to be able to step back and have a plan so that people continue to follow us. And if we don't have a plan, people aren't going to follow us into this chaos. They might be there, but they're really not truly on board. We have to develop some contingency plans. We have to think about what other things might happen. We have to be proactive. Can we be able to identify some different shifts that if we get to that spot, we're going to need to make and adjust? Your customers want to hear from you. They want to hear about what we're doing and being able to be there for them. And it really helps us to create that forward progress. Now, maybe not you guys, but me, I may not be the most decisive. And if we think about decisiveness and coming up with a plan, I think what's helped me out is having a few of those choices so that we have those kind of backup or contingency plans. And that's helped me to be more decisive and to be able to put out my plan for success. As we develop that plan, I think our fifth point is we really need to communicate that clearly. We need to communicate that clear plan for our team, as well as our customers, but for our team, because communication, it ultimately is king when it comes to change. From day one, it's really critical to have all of our members behind the leader, whether it's the company or the department. Be sure to keep everyone fully abreast of some of those developments and really ensure that people understand the end goal. We're in this together. We're trying to work with each other through to have some success. What are those whys behind the change? Communicate those things constantly as we are there for our team. We want to make sure that it's frequent. We want to make sure that it's being genuine and it's authentic. We don't want to overcommit. We want to make sure that we're setting realistic expectations and making sure that we're constantly reaching out to our team. When I talk with a lot of clients, it's communicate openly and frequently. And unfortunately, they don't want to necessarily reach out to their team as often as the team wants to hear from them. So I would definitely urge you, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but make sure you're planning and being proactive to reach out and touch each of your team members so that you can hear from them and hear what they need to continue to improve. When we look at the team, I think we need to consider what stage of transition each one of our team members are in. We have to engage, with their hearts and their minds, and we can't ignore that anxiety that people feel. If we ignore it, it's only going to magnify it. And I think our people need to know that we're there for them. We're having that empathy, and we're working and walking with them through this crisis. I can't help but think about the drama triangle. You may or may not have seen this before, but as you think about your team, what what corner of those quadrants are they in? When we think about the drama triangle, it's the rescuer, the persecutor, and the victim. And internally, we have ego states that move around inside of us. And as you think about your team, we have to identify which corner of that triangle are they in and how we need to then help them out. Depending upon which corner we decide that and interpret that they're in, we need to then adapt to that change triangle. We need to become a coach, a creator, a challenger. We need to be that problem solver to help get that victim transition out of their role. So as a leader, we might fall into the trap of really being that hero. But if we can shift our role to coach, we can really help break that drama triangle cycle. Together, bringing that team member out of that drama triangle will help to have success within our companies as well. Another way to look at transition and the phases of change is really the transition of what people go through from an emotional state. This first emotion that people need to get through is really this denial stage. I know when this pandemic and things really took off, we were at a Sandler conference down in Florida, and we were having a little bit of a denial. This isn't that bad. I mean, it's not really this big of a problem. Is it going to be? How is this really going to impact things? It's this denial. This change doesn't sink in. That disbelief and numbness, that ignorance of the problem. It's not really going to be as bad as they say it is. I mean, you think about it. We were in Florida at a conference with 1,400 people at a Sandler Summit event. There's a lot of people there, and we had that disbelief that this really wasn't that big of a problem. As we continued to work through, Jim and myself and our families ultimately started moving through the phases of change. We then moved into resistance. We started getting a little bit of negativity and pessimism. We started to go through some expression and some emotions. We had a focus on the personal impact. And we had some productivity drops, just like your team members might. We have to acknowledge our feelings and take small steps. Our first step was when we got back, we ended up staying home for 14 days in quarantine. Now, yes, we're still at home working. Our offices have primarily closed down, like many of yours, but we're still out helping and servicing customers and creators. The next phase is exploration. Once we realize that things probably aren't going to change, we enter that neutral zone where it's like, okay, what are we going to do? We're either going to explore and experiment and take some risks and seek some information and some answers. When we're in that exploration phase, we start to think about it as more of a distraction from stress, distraction from that uncertainty. We start to think about, how are we now going to be able to work with this? There might be a way. And lastly, after we start that exploration phase, we realize things aren't as bad as maybe they are, and we move into commitment. We move into the commitment phase where we feel comfortable with the change. We accept some of those new roles. We see and set some new goals. We build action plans, and we think this is now how I need to work as we move through and continue to transition out of that pandemic. So I'm kind of curious, when you think about your teams, when you think about the customers, the people when you think about denial, resistance, exploration, or commitment, I want you to take a second and use your chat. Put a little note in there if you could. Which phase of change do you currently see your employees and your teams dealing with? So take a second if you could and just throw a little note in that chat. I'm curious, where do you currently see your team when you consider the 4 phases of change? Excellent. I appreciate that, Paul. Exploration. Many people are getting there. That's great. Got a denial. Yeah, that happens too. There's definitely still some denial. Angela, appreciate that. We're still in some denial, and I agree. A lot of people are there as well. Exploration, the commitment, and that's what we really need to keep helping our team to get through and to drive into what is this new normal. Somewhere between resistance and exploration as an organization. Love it. Very true. We've got to figure out what new normal is possibly going to look like and be able to continue down that path. So as I'm kind of glancing at the comments, lots of exploration. And that's what I'm feeling in that business climate when I'm talking to leaders like yourself and our clients. Lots of people are tipping their toe in the water, so to speak, and moving us forward and thinking about, all right, we're done participating. This might be our new normal. So how's this going to work? How are we going to help move our people forward? So take time. Think about how your people are going to react under pressure. Understand yourself, understand your team, understand how those people handle that stress. How are they going to deal with these stressful situations of change? The magic, it's got to be one-on-one when we determine that somebody really needs to be lifted up. If it's somebody who's like a turtle and they just kind of bring their head in and try to withstand what's happening, we've got to be able to coach them through it, coach and be there for them as we bring them out of that scared mentality. Maybe you see yourself as an eagle. Maybe you see yourself as somebody who's really flying high and soaring above the rest. But I would urge you to think about what you need to do and adjust your approach so that you can reach some of your team members who might not be eagles like yourself. So it's definitely important to really look inside ourselves. I've got another tool that I'm happy to share with you, the change reactor. And what this tool does is it looks at, I think it's 12 or 14 different emotional states. And I think it really helps us to look at our people. Now, I know I just put 4 up there on the screen a minute ago, but as we diagnose and unpack those 4, other emotions come out. Anxiety, denial, approval. There's lots of different emotions that can come out. And I'm happy to share this tool with you. But what it does is take a look at your team members. Take a look at who it is that is on your team. Maybe it's John, Sally, Jane, Bill, Bob. And if we look at the emotion, we think about what they're going through, what they're thinking about internally for themselves. And we start to identify some strategies on the right side as to what we need to do to help them to improve in this new normal. Maybe it's simply scheduling some one-on-ones to let them talk through their concerns. Maybe we need to help her to, Sally, help her to self-discover the need to change, because we need her on this team. She's a critical part. So this change reactor, whether you use our tool or some other tool, create your own, think about your employee, think about what emotional state they're at, and think about what is a strategy that you can use to help them and help them to move through the transitions of change so that they can become a new effective team member and be able to help you down your plan. Next, number 7, it really leads us into encouraging teamwork and creativity. As we identify the needs of our team members, we also need to realize that they have a new normal of working at home, which to some of them is the worst thing ever because they're social people. They want to be in that social environment. And we have to be able to encourage them to work together. And we have to encourage them to work together to help us to create that approach and a solution to the plan. We've got to make sure that the team knows that we're still there to bring them together. And if we help them to create that action plan, we ultimately have a little bit more buy-in because it's their help with the plan. This really brings them together. This helps them to come up with some of those ideas, some of those behaviors that they might be able to do on their end to help us achieve this new normal, to help us get towards that end goal. So if we collaborate and we bring people together, they can help to plan it and execute these changes. You know, if you think about successful leaders, they work across boundaries. They encourage employees to break out of their silos. A lot of leaders that I talk to right now, their teams are so stuck in their own silos. They forget that they've got to come together and communicate across their silos and put down some of those differences, because the only way that we're going to get through this is if we can create these action plans together as a team, as a company, to move towards success. I think number 8, we just have to go and do it. We have to put some of our frustrations, our anxieties, our worries, and our fears aside, and we've got to go and just do it, the Nike slogan. We've got to go out and do some performance. As we create those action plans, I would urge you to help your employees to create key performance indicators so that they have a part of what they can control as part of that plan. So it might be just simply % of employees that have a certification. It might be a % of product delivered on time, the order fill rate, a % of deadlines met, the number of calls or outreaches to customers, the number of recon meetings or customer satisfaction meetings. So again, identify some key performance indicators, things that your team has control over, things that those behaviors that your team can do to go out and operate and work with our clients. They have to be specific. Identify and really get minute details worked out so that people have a good understanding of what it is that they're supposed to do. They have to be quantifiable. How can we measure them and set a goal for how many that we're shooting for? Maybe I just want 5 calls a week to current customers, see how they're doing. We've got to be able to measure them and track it. And once we can take a look at these areas, we need to identify and adjust if needed. We've got to think about how we can build these performetrics into specific job descriptions and what performetrics that maybe you should be holding yourself accountable to. When we think about a leader's performetrics, what KPIs might be important to you? Maybe it's just simply one-on-ones with your team. Maybe it's simply scheduling and having those meetings on the books so that the team can see you're meeting with everybody and getting the team together. Maybe it's simply putting time in that you're reaching out to clients and seeing how they're doing. I think a blind spot of many businesses that they suffer from is that they say they're having these meetings, but they're really not. They say they are, but they're really not. And if we don't have these meetings, we can't go over those performetrics, those KPIs, and figure out what we need to do to adjust, what we need to do to fine tune. But I think it's, there's very few actual setup meetings on the calendar. And that's why I said if you can schedule them and people can see them, they know that we're holding each other safely and we're holding us together to actually look at some of those activities and determine what needs to be adjusted to continue to improve, to continue to go through that path, to continue success. So as we keep working with our teams, we think about implementing a change plan. We need to communicate it. We need to implement it, monitor it, provide that feedback, figure out what adjustments need to be made. And as a manager, as we think, and as a leader, as we step back, we think about taking a look. It's our role to take a look at that data, to interpret it, to communicate and enable it. And I realize right now, we may not have all the answers. We may not have all that data to interpret. But I think it's important to be decisive, to be there and be a leader, to lead the team so that we can make some decisions, even though we need to fine tune them down the road so that we can continue our path for success. Now, those are 8. I also thought about a 9th one, a bit of a bonus tip, because I think right now, more than ever, I think we need to be grateful. We need to be thankful. We need to think about gratitude. We have to be intentional and really take a moment each day. And what is something that we could be thankful for? let's be thankful for what we have, not focused on what we don't have. And I think right now more than ever, this positivity and just giving some thanks and sharing that gratitude with others can help bring somebody's day up as well. So 8 keys for leading in times of uncertainty. We've got to self-examine, take a look inside of us and figure out what emotions we're dealing with and how we manage them. We've got to be able to plan. We've got to be able to prepare. We've got to be able to be decisive and communicate that goal and that plan and that vision with our team. We've got to be able to communicate openly. We've got to set up many meetings so that we can make sure that our team knows that we're there for them. We've got to work our team through stages of transition. We've got to encourage that teamwork and that creativity so that they can get to work. And I'll leave you with a couple of action items. If you haven't taken these notes, these are 4 that I think you should really focus on to help improve coming out of this pandemic. What self-limiting beliefs do you have that you need to really focus on and identify and change? What is some of your goals? What are the things that are going to internally drive you forward to help you create your plan? Consider your team. What stage are they at, and how can they help you to implement your plan? We got my email address up there, ethompson@sandler.com. If you'd like those couple of tools, happy to share those with you. The last thing, Jim and myself are offering some time to reach out and help the community. If there are any ideas or questions that you have that you wanted to bounce ideas off of or get our take as to what some of our clients or things that we've been hearing, best practices that we've been hearing out there, we're happy to set up a complimentary call and really help, because I think right now more than ever, as a community, we need to come together. We need to help people to be able to get themselves back on track and move their teams, their employees, their companies back to a new normal. So with that, I'd love to open the floor for any questions that you might have, and definitely can follow up with questions after. So throw it out for Tanya if you have any questions that came up that you saw, or others that open the floor for any questions.
Well, thank you so much, Eric. That was a lot of really great information, and I think very applicable both today and just in general as people are leading their companies forward. I did notice on your last slide here, your phone number, is it missing 1 digit at the end?
It sure is. It sure is. 4186.
4186. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Everybody could have that information if they need it. But just as we wrap up, we'll stay live here for just a few more minutes in case any questions pop up. But again, just wanted to thank you for your time. Paul just wanted to comment, outstanding presentation. So it was great. I think it was very.
We are also hosting a number of free sessions. You may have seen them on other publications on the 411, but we've got 6 more coming up here in the next couple of weeks on various topics similar to this. These are just little 30-minute quick hit ideas, and we've got one coming up today on storytelling, connecting with our customers and prospects. So if there's other things other of these types of topics that you would like to hear, please let me know as well. And when we can put together and craft, we want to bring topics that are meaningful to the community. And please share these with anybody who might find some value in attending. And like I said, if you have other topics, please let us know, because we'd love to bring some useful information to help everybody to really get back to this new normal.
Awesome.
So appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for sure. And we, as our attendees may know, and you and I have discussed, Eric, we will continue to build out these webinar opportunities for the community, as well as our chamber chat sessions. So we do look forward to partnering with you on topics. I know Sandler has some great learning opportunities that I'm sure a lot of our members and community would benefit from. So we appreciate that very much.
Thank everybody for being here today. And like I said, we'll stay on online if there are any questions, or we can take them offline. It's up to you guys. So we appreciate the invite, and we're glad we can be part of bringing us all together to get back to the new normal. So thank you guys very much.
For sure. And just as a reminder, for those of you that are still on with us today, the opportunities that we have coming up through the rest of the week, tomorrow we have a chamber chat at 11 a.m. and that'll be talking about small business funding opportunities, local opportunities for small businesses who may need some additional funding during this time. So we welcome you to join us for that. And Thursday we are doing a webinar at 8 a.m. again. That one is with the Building for Kids, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and Life Tools Tutoring. We're going to focus more on helping your children through COVID and just helping with anxiety and how to keep them occupied, how to have work-life balance if you're trying to work from home and raising kids. Eric and I talked about that a little bit this morning, that everybody's schedules might be just a little bit shifted because of the new normal that we're all facing. So hopefully if you have an opportunity, we'd welcome everybody to join us for those. As I noted, we will record, this has been recorded, and we will share that with attendees today. It'll also be posted out to our website. You can always find more information at foxcitieschamber.com. And I assume, Eric, the best place for them to find information on these upcoming sessions is at the Sandler site that you have noted at the bottom of the screen?
Correct. Yep, at the bottom of the screen, constantly add other sessions to that. So please take a look, and you can sign up right from psta.sandler.com/cuff-times-webinar-series. So many websites, so many things you got to add in there to try to get people out there. So
For sure.
please feel free to forward on to anybody that might find some value. We'd love to have you.
Excellent. Well, I think that wraps it up for this morning, Eric. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to partnering with you on future opportunities. And for those of you who are still on the call, have a great week. And if we can be of any assistance, don't be afraid to reach out at any time.
Thank you all very much. Have a great week. Good selling. Good leading.